Good morning from Sri Lanka. Honda Dio. Translation, in Italian at least, Honda God. That's a bold claim, but this does have otherworldly levels of smoothness and refinement. You know, Monika and I spent the first 5 days in Sri Lanka thinking it's fine. We'll just have that little Suzuki car. But what we found is we miss out on so many of the little stops because there are no pavements here. So you're driving along, you see a nice sight, but you can't actually stop to get to the site. So you miss out the sights, the sounds, and being able to just casually pull over in little places. You're constantly looking for somewhere to park. So we'll save that only for the big trips. Anything smaller, this is still by far the best mode of transport. It always amazes me how good a 110cc bike can be. 2 up, perfectly comfortable at 50 miles an hour, completely smooth, loads of storage. It makes so much sense. It cost £4.50 a day. And all I had to do was leave my passport with a random man. It's brilliant. So now I feel like we can properly soak in all that Sri Lanka has to offer. Today we're going to head off to the port of Galle, which is a very famous port. Luckily enough for us, only about 10 kilometers away. So we'll take you with us on a day in it's more than 500 years old, but at least 500 years since the Portuguese came over to Sri Lanka. I'll mention one other thing about the bike just before we head off. You may think that because Sri Lanka is the neighbor of India, that the translation between their love of Royal Enfields goes naturally from India to Sri Lanka. That in Sri Lanka they love Royal Enfields as much as they do in India. Doesn't work like that at all. In the past 8 days, I've seen 1 Royal Enfield motorbike, and that was being ridden by a tourist. So there are no Royal Enfields here, apart from maybe a couple of rental companies and a few enthusiasts dotted about, but there are none at all. And if you want to rent one, it's $45 a day compared to about...
And it's in Colombo.
Yeah, and it's in Colombo, so there's nothing nearby at all. And it's 4 times the price as it is in India. So the reality is this. Oh, this is the best mode of transport. First video I got to Sri Lanka, I was freaking out because I saw a monitor lizard and I thought it was a crocodile. The reality is, in every single body of water here, it's not just one monitor lizard, it's full of monitor lizards. I mean, look, right here. We don't even bat an eyelid now. Here's probably a 3-foot monitor lizard coming towards us now. I can see one at the back of this section of water. They are everywhere, whether they're swimming, basking on the banks of rivers, absolutely everywhere. Now an expert at spotting it. I mean, you can just see its head poking out of the water here, and one right at the back swimming around that you probably won't pick up on camera. Oh, there's one here as well, on the side of the water, little baby monitor lizard on the bank, see there? I've got a new fear of just walking through the undergrowth in Sri Lanka because you will step on a monitor lizard. There are that many of them. And there's a big one here right next to us. Monika, it's time for us to go. There's one coming towards us. Monika, you run, I'll catch up. Oh, just look at this. It's like it's not real. The whole of the old town of Galle is surrounded by white sandy beaches, turquoise water, rocky outlays with palm trees growing from them, and it's all surrounded by fortifications. What makes it so interesting is that Galle was Sri Lanka's main port, and then the Portuguese colonized it, and after the Portuguese came the Dutch, and after the Dutch came the British. So you've got this fascinating mix where you can have a Dutch hospital next to a British red post box and a mosque, pride of place, right in the heart of old Galle. And that's because over the past few centuries, Arab traders have come, set up base here, married the locals, and set up a proper community. So 30% of Galle is Muslim, whereas it's only a 10% amount of the population in Sri Lanka as a whole that's Muslim. So it's got a huge Muslim population relative to the rest of the country. You can see that old colonial style buildings from the Dutch, the Portuguese influence, beautiful white lighthouse over there. It's a breathtakingly stunning place, and I'll just pan over one more time here to show you the whole corner of old Galle, surrounded by white sand and turquoise water. The oldest cafe in Galle. That's not just a statement, I think that's actually the name of it. It's coming up to 100 years old, third generation, and you can see influences of their, well, not only family who have run it, but also interests. I'm guessing this was the past owner of the cafe. Then you've got a lot of different things for sale, almost like a convenience store here. So you've got lighters, milk, chocolates and things like that. Behind us you've got pastries and biscuits. They do food and drink, but this is the thing that really interested me. On top of the fact that it's Galle's oldest cafe, they've tried to keep things traditional, so not appealing specifically to tourists, but keep the pricing at locals level pricing, because what we've noticed over the past week being in Sri Lanka is that the prices of food places in touristy areas and even not that touristy areas, it's ferociously expensive. It's two completely separate economies. One economy catering to tourists, where honestly, it's not just UK prices, it's London prices. Monika and I paid for 2 lattes, I'm not joking, yesterday in Sri Lanka, £8.40, £4.20 each. That's UK prices. So we've had to limit the amount of food we actually eat out. So this will be a refreshing change. It looks like this is about half to a third the price of any food that we've been having so far. So what I think we'll get here, good value, traditional food, surrounded by loads of character. That's right up there as beaches go. We've come about half an hour all the way along the bottom coast, the south coast of Sri Lanka. We're heading to a little, I think it's a surf spot called Ahangama. And we literally just pulled over here by chance because the entirety of the south coast is fairly close to pristine white sand and turquoise sea. It's not just the beauty of it, it's the never-ending expanse, left and right, with no one around. With regards to prices, if you want a really top level latte like that, you'll be paying, and this is fairly typical, about £3.30. Sandwiches are about £5.20, £5.50. So if you want a sandwich and a coffee, that will be roughly £8.50 per person. Scooters, the best way to get around. Honestly, since we got the scooter about 2 or 3 days ago, the enjoyment around the south coast of the island has been completely transformed. It just makes life so much easier. And it also means that you're not constantly haggling for prices. Honestly, it gets really tiring. If every single journey that you do, you're having to haggle with a tuk-tuk driver or a taxi driver, it starts getting quite draining. I'll give you an example on this. We were in Colombo and we wanted to do a 3-minute tuk-tuk journey to our hotel because it was pouring torrential rain. We stupidly didn't ask for the price of the journey before we got in. So the tuk-tuk driver took us to the hotel. And at the end of the journey, we said, how much is it? And he said, that will be $10, please. So we said, what? Why are you charging us in dollars? And he said, I don't want the Sri Lankan currency, it's worthless. I like getting paid in dollars. So look, we said, look, we don't have dollars. How much is it in rupees? We then agreed a price of £2, rupee equivalent. I mean, we just gave him it, yeah, because we had no idea what was going on. We gave him what we thought was fair for literally a 2-minute ride. So you're going to have to deal with all that kind of stuff if you don't have your own transport. And I know in the first video, I went to get the international license. Took a whole day, felt like a waste of time, but at least I've got it. But honestly, being here now in the south, I honestly think 90% of people here don't have that special Sri Lankan driving permit. So although I can't recommend you not getting it, my opinion from being here, the police seem very chilled out. So make of that what you will, do what you think. But yeah, this is the point. If you crash and you don't have that driving permit, that you're probably in a lot of trouble. So it's probably better to get it. But I would guess that most people here don't have it. I think we'll finish our coffees, go for a swim. The beach all the way along this area of coast is genuinely breathtaking. So go for a little swim, head back to the apartment. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along for this video. Have a brilliant day, and we'll see you all in the next one.